Have you ever felt overwhelmed by all the different Bible translations out there? There's the KJV, the NIV, the ESV, the NASB, just to name a few. So, how do you know which one is right for you? Some say one is the most accurate, while others argue another is the easiest to understand. So, which Bible translation should you be reading? In this video, I'll break it all down for you. By the end of this video, you'll know exactly which Bible translation fits your needs. Welcome to Arise and Shine with me, Christine Raymond, where I help you to know God, grow in faith, and fulfill your purpose. So let's get right into it. Why are there so many Bible translations? Why do translations exist at all? The Bible was written in Hebrew, Aramaic, and Greek. In order for us to read the Bible in our language, we have to have people translate the scriptures, translate the words of the Bible into our language. In this case, we're speaking of English. So, another reason there are so many translations is that there are multiple meanings of words, especially in the Hebrew and Greek languages. Translators, therefore, have to choose what words to use to translate a particular word or a particular thought. They have to choose one word. In the Hebrew language alone, I've been told that for one word, there are 70 possible meanings. So, another reason why we need Bible translations is because languages evolve over time, and then it is helpful to have updated translations for us to understand better the words of the scriptures. A good example is the King James Bible, which you may be familiar with, and that came out in 1611. And that is why when you read the King James Bible, it is difficult to read because of the words, the these, the thous, some words that we don't even know what the meaning is, and then the sentence structure. It's just very difficult to read. So often there are updated translations that are needed. So let me tell you about three main translation styles. Style number one is word for word. The translator will look at each and every word, and the goal is to make it a literal translation of each word. Another type of translation style is thought for thought, and that's often called dynamic. So the advantage of thought for thought is that sometimes when you put a word and then a word and then a word, it isn't the most smooth reading text. And so thought for thought is taking that into account and also taking into account idioms, which are phrases that we have in our language that maybe someone else in a different language wouldn't understand. So let me give you an example of what I mean by idioms, such as beat around the bush. Now, if you're not English speaking and you hear someone say beat around the bush, you wonder why you must be taking a stick and beating these bushes all around the bush, when actually it means you're not coming directly to the point. That's an idiom. Have you heard the phrase break a leg, which is something that is said to people who are actors or actresses as they go and do their performance? It means go for it, make it a hit. Another one, kill two birds with one stone. Imagine that one. If you're trying to understand how you can take one stone and hit two birds at the same time, and why that is even something desirable, when kill two birds with one stone means, in our English idiom, that with one action you can accomplish two different things. So you get the idea about idioms. So the first translation style is word for word, which is literal. The second is thought for thought, which is dynamic. And the third is paraphrase. The advantage of paraphrase is it's really easy to read. But the idea of paraphrase is that there is even more of the translator's thoughts and ideas placed into this. It isn't word for word, it isn't only a translation, it's a little bit of a commentary from the translator as well as the translation. It's easy to read, but it has advantages and disadvantages, like each of the three styles. If you're finding this content helpful, please take a moment and hit the like button. We're going to break down popular English translations of the Bible based on these three translation styles and the purpose for which the text is being used. Under word for word translations, one is the KJV, which is the King James Version, and this is the one that was published in 1611. It is classic, it is poetic, beautiful language, but it's older language. It's hard for us to understand it well. I want to make another comment about the King James Version, too. It says that's the authorized version. And the reason it says authorized is not because this is the only version of the Bible that you should actually be reading. There are some people that teach that, and they say all these other translations, these are not God's will. You are supposed to be reading the authorized King James Bible. The reason it says authorized is that King James, in the year 1611, authorized this English translation. It has nothing to do with what is authorized today. So let's look now at the NKJV. This is the New King James Bible. And as you might imagine, it's a revision of the KJV, but it's also a literal word for word translation. It's a great one to study with. The NASB, or the New American Standard Bible. This is also word for word, and it is very literal, perhaps the most accurate of the literal translations. So it's great for deep study. The ESV is the English Standard Version, and this also is word for word. It is great for accuracy, and also it's a little bit more readable than the New King James would be. And then the CSB, the Christian Standard Bible. This is a Bible that's becoming more and more popular as of late. And the beautiful thing about it is a balance of word for word and thought for thought translation. So if I had to put it in one of these categories, it would be on a bridge in between. Very literal word for word translations, but also thought for thought translation as well. So it helps to be very accurate, but also very readable. That's the word for word translations. And these are the most accurate for studying. Let's go to thought for thought translations. These tend to be a bit more readable than the word for word translations. And the two most popular are the NIV, which is the New International Version, and the NLT, the New Living Translation. They are both very popular, easy to read, very clear, and modern. These are great Bibles to use if you are reading through the Bible or you have difficulty with reading certain text. And the last category is the paraphrase translations. This is for devotional reading, and it's for easy understanding. Nothing wrong with that. A popular, newer paraphrase translation is called the Passion Translation. You may have heard me refer to it on these videos. It is translated with the idea that it has more of the heart and not just the intellect in these translations. It is very expressive, but it's more interpretive. In other words, paraphrase translations are more than just translations. There's more interpretation involved in what has been written. I really enjoy the Passion Translation. It brings out aspects of the Word, especially when I'm looking to really have a sense of God's love and a sense of how these things feel. I love the Passion Translation for that. Two older paraphrase translations are the Living Bible and the Message Bible. Each of these was written by one individual. The Message Bible was written by Eugene Peterson, and he did it for his congregation because he wanted them to have the language of everyday life to read the Bible so they could really understand it and apply it to their lives. And the Living Bible, the original Living Bible, was also written very similarly by one individual for the same purpose. So, which Bible translation is best for you? Well, like I said earlier, if you want to do deep study and you want to look at every verse in detail, you want to look up those words, then the best translations would be something that is in the word for word category. For everyday reading, the CSB, the NIV, and the NLT are great for everyday reading. For devotional or storytelling style, the Message Bible, the Living Bible, or the Passion Translation are wonderful for that. What if you want to read the Christmas story to your grandchildren and you wanted it to sound not like chapter and verse, but you want it to really come across as the story that it really is? Then one of these might be a great choice. If you are a new believer or you want to give a Bible to a new believer, I would recommend either the NLT or the NIV. They are accurate, but they are more easily understood for someone just approaching the Bible in a new way. Now, I have some cautions for you. I don't know if you've ever heard about the New World Translation. If you have, that is a Bible translation you want to avoid. The reason you want to avoid it is because it is published by the Jehovah's Witnesses, which is a cult, and they have not just translated this, they have changed portions, they have changed wording to match their doctrine. So this is not a translation of the Bible that you want to use. You may also have heard about these other quote-unquote gospels that talk about Jesus. I think the one we hear about the most is the Gospel of Thomas. There's also a Gospel of Mary, and there are others. These are not the inspired Word of God. And then you might want to ask about Catholic Bibles. Should I be reading a Catholic Bible? That is not a problem like the New World Translation or these other so-called Gospels. But the Catholic Bibles have 7 more books than the Protestant Bibles. You might want to know, well, how is it decided which of these books are divinely inspired and belong in the Bible? Believers of the early church got together and they had a set of criteria to determine whether or not these books were the inspired Word of God collected together in what we know as the Bible. So here we are. This is the question you've been waiting for. So how do I choose the right Bible for me? Number 1, consider your purpose. Is it for study? Is it for everyday reading? Is it for devotional time? Or is it for preaching and teaching? I use a variety of translations in my own life, and I use a variety of translations when I teach. Another thing you want to consider is try using multiple translations for deeper insight. It's great to use multiple translations if you're on a particular verse or a particular section of a chapter and you want to know more information. You can get that information by comparing. Another way you can do that is utilizing all the wonderful electronic Bibles that we have available to us. I have several Bible apps on my phone, on my iPad, and I access other electronic sources on my laptop as well. Some of the Bible apps, a very popular one is called the YouVersion Bible, and you can find it in whatever app store you use. They're great for many translations and even translations in other languages other than English. There are Bible reading plans. There are a lot of positives there. Another one is the Life Bible app. I like that because, again, it has a lot of translations. You can access different study Bibles, and there are lots of tools. There are commentaries. There are lots of things that you can access. The Bible app itself, the YouVersion app, there is no cost for it. The Life Bible app, you can use it at no cost, but if you want the extra things, you may find that there is some small cost there. The Bible Gateway is a great one. Blue Letter Bible is also very good on the computer or on an app. So I hope this has helped you to get an idea of what the reason is you're reading and how you want the reading to be so that you can choose a Bible translation and try it out. It is great to have one go-to Bible translation. For me, that's the one that I read. So I can just pick it up. If I have some extra time and I want to be reading, that's the Bible I pick up. Get a Bible that's comfortable for you, even physically comfortable for you, that you feel good about, and that you really like the translation. You will read more and you will understand more that way. So if this video helped you, be sure to like, share, and subscribe if you haven't already for more content like this. It really helps these videos to get out to more and more people. And let me know your thoughts and experiences by sharing in the comments below. You might actually want to put, what Bible translation do you use? If you'd like to help with the expenses of making these videos and make a one-time or monthly donation, you can use the link below in the description. And if you liked this video, I think you'll like this one.